Hi, my name is Jamahl Kersey and I'm a criminal defense attorney in San Diego, California. And in this video, I'll be discussing the charge of assault under Penal Code Section 240. In order to prove the defendant is guilty of assault, the prosecutor must prove the following elements. Number one, the defendant committed an act that by its very nature would directly and most likely result in the application of force on another person. The classic example of this would be throwing a punch at someone at close range. Throwing a punch is an act that would likely result in the application of force on another person. Element number two is the defendant acted intentionally, so it can't be an accident. If a guy is telling a story, he's talking with his hands, he makes a motion like this and accidentally smacks someone, that's not going to be an assault. Sure, it was an act that resulted in the application of force to another person, but clearly it was not intentional. Therefore, there's no assault. Element number three is when the defendant acted, he or she was aware of facts that would cause a reasonable person to realize that their act would directly and probably result in the application of force to another. I mentioned the punch example. The key portion of that example was being within close range. If a person was throwing punches at someone across the room, we have a different situation because that person would know that there's no possible way that those punches could connect due to the distance. Thus, it would not be an act that would directly and probably result in force. The last element is that when the defendant acted, he or she had the present ability to use force on a person. The prosecutor must prove each of these elements beyond a reasonable doubt in order for a person to be guilty of assault. Now, bear in mind, there does not actually have to have been any injury or actual contact made for a person to be guilty of assault. In fact, assault is often described as an attempted battery. So let's discuss some examples. At a bar, two guys get in an argument over a girl. They're jawing back and forth at each other and things get heated. One of the guys is extremely intoxicated. He has a beer bottle in his hand. He swings the bottle at the other guy, but he completely misses. So even though there was no contact made, the man who swung the bottle could be charged with assault. By swinging the bottle, he committed an act that would likely result in the application of force on another person. Another example would be at a baseball game. A player's up at bat. After complaining about a called strike, a fan in the front row yells to the player, "Hey, you suck, a-hole." The frustrated player, already angry about his performance, gets upset by the insult. He makes a threatening gesture with his bat towards the fan. Now, while this would draw a penalty on the field, and if he's a pro, he's probably going to get hit with a big fine, it probably would not be considered criminal assault. Yes, actually hitting someone with a bat would obviously result in the application of force, likely deadly force. However, the player being on the field would not have the present ability to make contact with a fan in the stands. Therefore, we don't likely have an assault here. As for defenses, a person has a right to defend themselves from immediate threat of harm. If the defendant was acting in self-defense, they may have a defense to an assault charge. Again, no contact is required for assault, and oftentimes there is no physical evidence of an assault, and so therefore it's an offense that's subject to false claims. Over the years, I've seen cases where the alleged victim made up a story that they had been assaulted, and as you can imagine, it can be a challenge trying to prove such a thing did not actually happen. In these instances, finding objective evidence or otherwise attacking the victim's credibility would be a part of a defense strategy. With assault charges, it can be vital to seek out video footage via witnesses' cell phones or surveillance cameras. And having an investigator interview eyewitnesses is also an important element of a defense investigation. Assault is a misdemeanor. The maximum punishment is 6 months in jail. The judge can order that court fines be paid, and oftentimes a judge will order a person convicted of assault to take an anger management class. Community service can sometimes be ordered as well. So there you have an overview of assault charges. If you found this video useful, please show me some love and hit the like button. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to this channel. And as always, I want to thank you so much for watching. Until next time, peace.